Hello everybody, welcome to the Steckline Report. Nice to have you aboard today. We're going to talk a little bit about our future, those of us who are in the farming business. We talked a little bit about the cattle business last time around. We kind of look for this old cattle market to remain strong for the next couple of years, be honest about it, because of our numbers. I think the thing that'll set the stage for our prices on the farm for livestock, and especially cattle, will be the economics of this country. The ladies and the guys that are going to the grocery store picking up that steak that's going up in price almost every day, there's a stopping point where they won't pick it up any longer and they'll go over to the cheap chicken or the cheaper pork, and you can understand that. Now some will never change, they'll just eat less, but they'll still eat some, and so consequently I'm not worried about this business of ours going out of business, but I am worried about where that top is, and when we turn people away from beef, how long they'll stay away even if the price comes down. Those are always things that we should and could be concerned about in this business, and I am about beef. But other than that, I think probably we're kind of near where we're going to stay for a while. I don't think it's going to get a lot higher because of the economic situation that we have in the United States. The number of unemployment, the unemployment figure isn't changing that drastically. And so the numbers of people that can afford the higher priced products in the grocery store will be pretty much the way it is today. Now, let's get into the grain market real quick, but before we do that, let's stop and talk about some people that are helping put this show on.
My grandfather came across the plains from Missouri in the 1860s and ran a hotel and stage stop here with livery stable, and it's been in the family ever since. We run probably about 100 cows here and 250 over at the other ranch. I'm sure there are other banks we could have dealt with, but they've been so friendly and know what the ups and downs are in the business. American Ag Credit is like a family for us for financial help.
Well, friends, when we look at the grain market, there's something interesting. First of all, we got to take a look at the rest of the world, because that is setting the stage right now for U.S. markets. That'll change soon when we get the planters going to the fields here in March and April. But right now, the guesses are moving the market up and down, be honest about it. But those are only 1, 2, 3, 4-day functions. And you saw what happened with the USDA report. That guess broke the market 55 cents for corn, for example, and all other grains followed suit for 2 or 3 days, but they're working their way back slowly as we kind of check out what's going on around the world and see what total production is going to be this year, because that's the real setting factor for prices this year. Right now we can tell you we don't know what's happening in Brazil. We get one report. We do know when it rains and when it doesn't rain, but other than that we don't. We're not getting facts. Kind of like any other country, with the exception of the United States, we tell everything that we got way before we should, in my opinion. But Brazil, for example, according to a preliminary Ag Ministry survey, corn crop losses reached 32% in the southernmost part of Rio Grande, 19% in Santa Catarina, and 17% in Paraná. Now those are much higher than those that the official Ag Ministry in Brazil is letting us believe, and it's much higher than what we are taking into account at USDA's reports. So with that in mind, what are the losses? Well, I can tell you one thing, they may be bigger than some people think, because their government has come out and they've just recently announced help for farmers in regions that have been affected by drought. They have a crop insurance program that doesn't even come close to ours. Their farmers are really scraping for money. Banks have been notified to not crack down on these farmers who do not have money to pay right now because of the drought. So you can't tell me that there hasn't been a major loss over there. Just the thing is, you can't tell me how much the loss is, because nobody can. But that's not all. The Ukrainian grain crop is in big bad trouble yet. Yes, the old wheat crop hasn't come up in some areas. Where it has sprouted, it's just standing there. They haven't had the rain. They haven't had the cold weather either. They haven't had the melting snow. But their poor conditions are poor. For example, 83% of the sown crop areas has sprouted. So there's almost 20% that hasn't. And of the sprouted areas, 33% were in poor condition. And here in the United States, we have our first figures out, friends. Corn next year will be up 2.8 million acres. Soybeans will be down 408,000. Winter wheat will be up over 1.3 million according to Informa. That's a little bit negative. We'll talk about that later on the next Steckline Report. See you then.